Is the Greek-Cypriot word Battiha found in the Bible? What does Battiha mean? Battiha is the Cypriot word for watermelon. In Greece, they call it karpúzι. But is the Greek-Cypriot word Battiha found in the Bible? To answer this question, we need to examine Numbers chapter 11 and verse 5. To understand this verse, we need to know some background. We need to put it into context. The ancient Israelites were slaves in Egypt. God miraculously rescued them, and through his servant Moses, he led them out of Egypt and towards the promised land. They had to pass through the desert and face difficulties along the way. But they soon complained to Moses. They even wanted to return to their old life of slavery back in Egypt. Why? They murmured, "We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic." They strongly desired to eat that variety of food that they had back in Egypt. It was delicious, much better than that boring old manna day in and day out. I'll read the verse in modern Demotic Greek. Θυμόμαστε τα ψάρια που τρώγαμε στην Αίγυπτο δωρεάν και τα αγκούρια και τα πεπόνια και τα πράσα και τα κρεμμύδια και τα σκόρδα. One of the items of food that they longed for was melons. The English translations have melons. The Greek translation, known as the Septuagint, has the word pebonas. In the nominative singular, it is o pebon. This is the form you need to look up in a Greek lexicon. And in modern Greek, it is to peponi, although the Cypriots would say peponi. In ancient Greek, if someone called you pebon, it was a term of endearment. However, if you called a group of people pebones, it was an insult. You were saying that they were cowards. Yes, well, that's all very interesting, but is the Greek-Cypriot word Battiha found in the Bible? We need to examine Numbers 11:5 in the original Hebrew. The word for melons in the plural is avati'ach. But in Hebrew, avati'ach are in fact watermelons and not melons. The singular of avati'ach is avati'ach. And now with the vowels showing, avati'ach. The Cypriot word Battiha comes from the Hebrew avati'ach, However, Battiha came into the Cypriot dialect from Arabic, another Semitic language related to Hebrew. Let us examine an Arabic translation of Numbers chapter 11 and verse 5. There is the word. Remember, Arabic, like Hebrew, is read from right to left. The al in red means the. The Hebrew avati'ach is translated Battiha. So we have in Hebrew avati'ach, in Arabic Battiha, and the Cypriot is also Battiha. But what about the word karpúzι, which is the word used in Greece? What is the origin of karpúzι? To answer this, we need to look at the Persian translation of Numbers 11:15. The Persian word translating the Hebrew avati'ach is kharbozeh. Kharbozeh. So we can add kharbozeh to our list. But just to complicate matters, kharbozeh is not a watermelon, but an ordinary melon of the honeydew variety. The Turkish word for watermelon was taken from the Persian word kharbozeh. Karpuz is Turkish for watermelon. And the Greeks just added the letter iota and called watermelon karpúzι. And just to avoid confusion between melon and watermelon, here is a list of the 6 languages and the words they use for melon and watermelon. Is the Greek-Cypriot word Battiha found in the Bible? Yes, it is. It is found in the Hebrew Old Testament in Numbers chapter 11 and verse 5. A word of warning: good food can become an idol. The ancient Israelites got their priorities wrong. Their craving for fish, cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions and garlic became an idol. Physical food was more important than their God, who just rescued them from slavery in Egypt. Contrast their behavior with that of Christ. He was also in the desert, thirsty and hungry. Matthew chapter 4. And when the tempter came to him, he said, "If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread." But he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." In John chapter 6, the Lord Jesus Christ said, "Labour not for the meat, food that perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you." John 6:27. And a little later in verse 35, "And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst." But what about the English word melon? Well, would you believe me if I told you that a melon is an apple in disguise? Melon was originally composed of two words. Melon is derived from the Greek word Mηλοπέπων. Mηλοπέπων. Melon, apple, and pepon, melon. Later, the pepon got dropped off and melon was left. In Western Europe, the Greek letter eta was replaced with the letter E from the Latin alphabet. So the word melon is an apple in disguise. Τέλος.